On this edition of Search and Restore, we're in the city of brotherly love to spread a little ourselves. Here, tradition runs deep, and for this Pennsylvania family, an old fort that's undone is the needed inspiration for this grandson. We'll rescue a classic and make sure memories of those who have passed are forever part of this boy's future.
I think it's really cool getting to travel the country from one coast to the other. We meet these Power Block viewers. Everybody's a car guy. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, different jobs, different professions, different projects, but they're all still car guys. It's really pretty cool. So last build, me and Tommy went all the way to Tacoma, Washington. Now we're on the other side of the country, all the way to Philadelphia to surprise Shane this morning with his 48 Ford truck.
There it is. See, she's kind of redone, but not really finished. Sort of the paint scheme that we were looking for. I'll have to yank it out with the truck so that you can actually see all of it.
Shane Skennonto lives in downtown Philadelphia with his girlfriend and their 2-year-old son, Xavier.
He's got all his little trucks, his big trucks.
But just south of Harrisburg, PA, is the Skennonto family heirloom on wheels.
So here it is, the 1948 Ford F2. That was my grandfather's. Then my father started restoring it. It didn't finish when he realized that he had cancer, and then he didn't make it. You see my son goofing around in there.
Philly is a blue-collar town, and Shane, a blue-collar guy. He worked concrete for years and is now a safety manager for a large construction firm in the city.
The hardest part of my job really is sometimes it's dealing with people's personalities. You know, some days people have bad days at home, sometimes they bring it to work. And when you can ask somebody very simply, hey, can you come down so that you don't get hurt, and they have a less than nice reaction sometimes.
He's responsible for making sure everybody on site follows procedures so they go home safe to their families at the end of the day. Shane's extended family is a big one, with dozens of aunts, uncles, and cousins. A lot of the guys were gearheads, including his granddad and father, John, who ran a small auto repair business for years.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Skennonto, and I am Shane Skennonto's stepmother. I was married to John. His family meant a lot to him. His family history meant a lot to him. He's half Mohawk Indian and black.
His dad told me that trucks were like horses to Native Americans. The more vehicles you had, the more wealth you had.
This particular horse was more of a companion. Originally bought out of a junkyard, Gramps dropped in a flathead straight 6, found a Dodge bed, and turned it into a hauler. When he died in '05, John, or Doc as they called him, took over the restoration, researching parts, along with doing some cosmetic repair to the front fenders with the help of his brother, Fletcher. Even after Doc was diagnosed with cancer, the men continued working on the truck until his passing 3 years ago.
You know, I told my father when he was dying that he said he really wanted me to finish it, and I promised that I'd finish it. And now that I started to actually do the work myself, I'm starting to realize that I don't have the skills to fix it, and I feel like I'm letting down. It's one of those things that I really want to have it restored, but I don't have the skills, number one, and the time to fix it. My father was an excellent mechanic, so was my grandfather, and it seems that it may have skipped a generation with me.
For Shane, it's more of, it's what him and his dad used to drive in, and I think that he sees it as, you know, him and Xavier will be able to go to the car shows and go to Carlisle and stuff like that. I think that that's what he's most looking forward to, like taking that truck to, you know, and creating memories with Xavier like he had with his father.
My father and my grandfather both passed before my son was born, so he doesn't really know them. He knows Amy's side of the family, her grandfather, his her father, his great-grandfather. It's important. One of the reasons that I think it's important is that I like to be able to share something that my father and my grandfather had with my son.
His spirit lives within Shane, and I know his spirit is within Xavier. And it would be a good thing if you could help us restore and keep that memory going. Thank you.
Coming up, Tim and the team make their way to Pennsylvania to surprise a family and offer up a helping hand.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was really cool yesterday. We took a little sidetrack, stopped off in Washington, D.C., seen the White House.
Yep, White House.
Seen all the tourist stuff, walked around a little bit.
Yep, Washington Monument.
Got back on the road.
It'd be a great place to come back and visit if you had more time.
It would, bring a family.
Across the Potomac and up I-95, the boys pull into Philadelphia with a little time to kill.
So I just got meat with cheese whiz. Just ordered the whiz. Really good.
Oh, yeah. 100 miles to the west is York, PA, where behind this brownstone on a snowy February morning, Shane and his stepmother met our producer for what they thought was part of the application process.
There she is. I don't think he bought it new. I don't think my dad ever in a new car. I never have.
That's him standing right there.
Why's the truck here?
Oh my God!
Your lucky day, my friend.
Are you serious?
Because I wasn't expecting that.
Cool. Hey, Shane.
Oh
Hey, man. We're
How
here to
you
get you a
doing?
truck.
Thanks.
Don't I get any hugs here? or what?
Thanks.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Hey, little man. It's fun.
Say hi.
We had to make sure you were here, so we sent a scout team, and we were waiting down the street, and so here we are.
Oh, good. And the whole time I've been going, I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
And I just kept saying, please let this happen for John. He would be totally thrilled.
That's good.
Totally thrilled.
Here. Now, how much input do I have? Do I have any input?
I've got a plan in my head, but I'm not going to tell you, so you can be surprised at the end. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you'd like to see.
The colors
The most important thing,
is the red
the red wheels.
The red wheels.
On a green truck?
Yeah.
It looked like a Christmas decoration.
Was this America's Most Wanted?
Hi, Aunt Nina.
We're actually here to take it. We're going to take it and fix it up. It's going to be on the show.
You think he'd be happy that,
Oh, absolutely. But he probably would be in the way telling you what to do.
Yeah, he would definitely be telling you. Come on. Let me talk to you a little bit.
Come over here.
This is what I think we ought to do here.
Oh, I could see my dad smiling and my brother smiling about the truck being, you know, hooked up, finished, you know.
Ready to get this thing loaded up?
I'm ready.
It was kind of sad to see it go.
One day it's going to be Xavier's truck, and he wasn't here when my dad was here. And through this and through pictures and everything, they'll have the truck to, you know, to sort of tie them together. See you later.
Next, volunteers and an eager Canadian await the arrival.
Here to help!
Before tearing into the 4-Gen Ford. Stay tuned. Our volunteer build team is ready and waiting when the search and restore rig pulls in with Shane's Philadelphia Ford. When Tim opens the trailer door, the crew will get their crucial first impression of just how much work this 64-year-old pickup is gonna need.
I brought the forklift! Hey, guys.
Hey, Tim, I'm here to help! Hey, Tim, look out!
I invited all you guys, but who invited him?
You own me for 4 weeks. I'll throw in 2 for free.
Man, I hope I kept my receipt. You guys ready to see what we got in here? There it is.
I think it'll buff. Gonna be some work.
The hard light of day reveals a few rust spots, but not much more. Anything could be lurking under this truck's aging layers of paint.
It looks pretty interesting.
I was expecting it to look a little worse than it does, I think. The cab doesn't look too bad.
It's definitely not going to be a 4-wheel drive, so don't get your hopes up. These boys don't know what they're missing.
Faster! Faster!
You never know what's going to be underneath that paintwork or what it's going to look like once you start tearing into it. So there could be some surprises.
There it is, guys. We got all aftermarket bed from LMC, so we don't need this stuff. And so what we're gonna do today is get everything off the back end. We'll pull the hood off, front fenders can be coming off, all the glass can be taken out. If there's too many people working and in everybody's way, new chassis can be rolled in, motor and tranny can be put together and put in the new chassis today too if they want to break up into teams. So that's what we got.
Hey, get on that
Let's
side.
get after it. It looks to be outnumbered. There's 4 over there.
We ain't no dummies. Body's rotted out pretty good, bed's rotted out, but it's nothing that we can't tackle, so, you know, we're gonna knock it out the box.
That's pretty much garbage. We got new ones of those. Yeah, those are nasty.
Destroying this door. I think we're all pretty good at that part of it.
They always seem to come apart fairly good, but remembering how they go back together can be difficult. Did you order a manual? Who ordered a manual? Sweets, did you order a manual?
What's a manual?
I don't know if I even have feeling in my hands anymore.
I got Tim's permission to use the Sawzall on this truck.
I gave him permission. I didn't realize it was going to be quite that big of a blade. No,
So
I'm
you
not-
said
I'm not
3-inch
chopping
chop,
this.
right?
Would be cool, but not on this one. Maybe the next one.
That's done.
Many eyes would only see a collection of worn-out parts, but Shane knows better. He's placed part of his family's history into the careful hands of Tim and the build team. Of course, he never suspected someone would put a torch and a hammer in Ian's hands.
This hammer's flammable.
Come on, guys, let's get the body off. I learned that too late in my shop that it was cheaper to buy the lift than it was to buy pizza for all your buddies every time you needed to lift the body on and off.
Yeah, I love the project and what we're doing it for. The family aspect, being that me and my dad are so close and work on stuff together. And then my son has now started helping with stuff, so the project means a lot to me. A lot of love going into the truck.
Next, parts, and more parts fly into the tech center.
Cool thing about dealing with huge companies like LMC around here, they got a catalog that's like this thick. It's like a New York City phone book. I just sat there one day, 48 Ford truck? Yes, please. 48 Ford truck? Yes, please.
Feels like Christmas.
I think we got a little over 200 items shipped to us from LMC. Wow, that's a lot. And they even sent a guy to help us put it all together. That's even better.
With LMC supplying brand new skin, you can't put that on a 64-year-old skeleton.
So here's the new chassis. We got complete roller from Fat Man Fabrications. It's got their independent based on a Mustang 2 front suspension. QA1 supplied the coilovers. It's even got a sway bar and a power rack and pinion. In the back, we got a Curry 9-inch Ford, along with, again, another pair of QA1 coilovers. Fat Man even ran the brake lines for us. All new, all fresh, all awesome, and all donated.
Now that the cab is separated from the chassis, the team can tear into 6 decades of rust and corrosion.
We're gonna take where this body seams in the truck, grind it all out and clean it.
We got John Keef here. He does a lot of custom truck projects at his shop.
Started out doing collision work and moved more into the custom side. Now that's pretty much all we do.
Keef's Rod and Custom has had several cars and trucks that were in national magazines, but his favorite project is an F-150 named Nuff Said that was featured on the cover of Street Trucks magazine. As for John, he feels his time is well spent on the project.
It's worth every dime I've missed being closed for a week. Makes me feel real good to be a part of something like that.
Got a little rust in it, but it's cleaning up good. I think it's gonna be fine.
Weld it in and make it look like a factory body line across here. It'll make the cab more structurally sound, plus look a lot better.
The power plant for this project needed an upgrade as well as the old but classic 6-cylinder flathead. So Ford Racing ponied up a 306-inch V8, pushing 340 horses to turn this old Clydesdale into a young thoroughbred.
Hey, look at that car.
Good old-fashioned grape drink. It's amazing the stuff you find in old vehicles.
There was about 75 unneeded holes on the firewall. I kind of volunteered myself. I saw nobody else really wanted to do it, so it needs to be done. I'll weld all these holes. And it took a long time, but in the end when it was done and I stood back and looked and it's gonna make it that much nicer, it was worth it. You know, it's really custom that most people will open up that hood, look in there, never know why it looks so good. But that's one of the little things that was done that makes the whole package look good.
We're mocking up these floor pans right now. I think it'll fit all right. We're gonna have to do a little cut. One of the worst floors I've seen. So definitely needs some new floor pans.
Tighten a little off. Day 2, I hope to get another good strong day in. Get the bed all together, floor pan in. Gonna put the body on the new chassis, motor and tranny in the chassis. Sounds like we'll take a vacation about halfway through the day on Friday. Yeah, right.